Hello students, Miss Tron here. Today I am going to teach you how to make a sculpture. Now this incorporates either paper or cardboard, and in just a minute I'm going to show you how to form these pieces. But first of all, I want to go over some vocabulary with you. So our first vocabulary words are form. In art, we use the word form just to mean that something is three-dimensional. Sculpture is a word we use to describe three-dimensional art. You may have seen some sculptures all over Jacksonville. There's some across from the main library down in Hemming Plaza. You may see some sculptures in different parks around town. So that's form and sculpture. I was going to talk about space a little bit. Positive space is the space the sculpture takes up. So if we're talking about positive space on this sculpture, all of these little pieces are positive space. They actually take up some space. Negative space is the air around the sculpture. So all of this air around the sculpture is considered negative space, and sometimes in the sculpture, the negative space is just as important as the positive space. So that's that. Now, our objectives, sorry, this fell on the floor. Our objective today is going to be to demonstrate ability to form paper into paper sculpture. And our essential question is, do you think you were successful in the creation of your sculpture? Why or why not? So as you're working on it, at the end, you might want to think to yourself, what did I do really well? What could I do better? Is kind of a good way to think about your art sometimes. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what kind of material we're going to use today. One of the things you're going to use is strips of paper or strips of cardboard. Oh, look at this. This is an old frozen pizza box I used that I cut into pieces. So you could even use, these are from a granola bar box that I had. So we want either strips of paper or of cardboard is what you want. Now, I want to talk with you a little bit about that. To create the strips, there's a few different ways you can do it. One way is to simply take a ruler and draw lines across your paper. Sorry, that wasn't exactly what I meant to do. This is one if you want your lines to be super duper straight, you can use a ruler. And then what you would just do is cut the strips out. Now, you don't have to use a ruler. You can cut strips just like this, but another way to cut strips is just to cut lines straight across your paper from one side to the other, okay? So there's a few ways to get your strips of paper. So that's thing one, you're going to either need strips of paper or strips of cardboard. The second thing you're going to need is a platform to build your sculpture on. This was, my son was building the Millennium Falcon, so this is a piece of cardboard that I found in the recycling bin. So you could do that. You could, here's my pizza box again. I could build off of the pizza box. Or, if I don't have a piece of cardboard, I could just attach my sculpture directly to a piece of paper. Even if you don't have copy paper, you could use old mail. Anything you can do to get your strips. So far we have the strips, we have our platform, and now the last thing you're going to need is something to attach your strips to your platform. There's a few things you could use. You could use glue stick. Glue stick is probably one of the easiest things to use, but don't worry, if you don't have glue stick, it's no big deal. You could use glue stick. You could use tape. This is masking tape. you could use Scotch tape, the clear tape if you want to, the transparent tape, so any kind of tape. Oh, you could also use a glue bottle and just squeeze out a tiny drop of glue every time you're attaching something. I didn't have a glue bottle, but I did have a big bottle of glue, so I just put a little dollop of glue here, and I'm using a Q-tip as my way of attaching. I was trying to think of some other ways to attach, and what I came up with is maybe even using maybe some paper clips might work out really well. By the way, if you have no glue or nothing to attach your stuff to your cardboard with, your other option is just bending and folding shapes after you learn some of these techniques and just trying just to fold your paper strips into neat things. So you don't have to glue it down, but if you are able to glue or attach or tape your strips down, you might be more satisfied with your results. Okay, so we're just going to keep it real basic. We're going to do some simple ones, then we're going to make it hard. The really cool thing about this project is it's open to your own imagination. You can take it in your own direction. Okay, so here's my platform I'm going to work with today. Thing one I'm going to do that's pretty easy is just to make a curve. So basically what I'm going to do, you can take glue or glue stick or even your tape, and on each side, I'm working with a glue stick now, we want to attach a strip so one piece is like this and the other is just slightly curved up. Oh, that looks pretty cool. So this is just curved up like that. Let's see what else we can do. Another thing we can do is make a circle. And this is how we can do that. If I take some glue a little dollop here, I could even use some tape or a little teeny tiny dot of glue. If I take this paper and roll it around and press it down, I now have a circle. Okay? So my circle could go here. It could go on top of something. It could go inside something, perhaps, inside another part of your sculpture. So right now I'm just trying to find a place this circle would look great. I think I'll stick it right there. Okay, what else do we have? The next one I'm going to show you is transforming a circle into a square. So I have a little blob of glue, or a teeny drop of glue would work too. If I'm going to use glue, I want just a tiny dot or just a tiny bit. We don't need a lot. Remember what we say in art when we talk about liquid glue? When we talk about liquid glue, we say, all I need is a dot, not a whole lot. Okay? So anyways, I have my circle. Now, to turn it into a square, I always tell my students at school, this is my one art teacher magic trick. Okay, I've got my circle. Now, if I fold it down like this, I now have my circle's been flattened. So now if I turn it like this, and as you see, it's kind of like a football or a lemon shape. If I take these two pieces like this and push those two points straight together in the center of my paper and then fold in half again and then pull it back out, I now have a square. I could glue that directly down on the paper. I could glue it on top of something, but I think I'm just going to glue it down. Now let me show you a method for gluing with the glue, the liquid glue. I'm just going to take a little bit. Anything more than a little bit and your sculpture is not going to hold very well. All you need is a little bit. So now I have a square. Let's see what other things we can do. Here's another one that can be kind of cool. We're going to make kind of like a monkey bar type shape here, okay? So what I'm going to do with this paper, I'm going to fold down two sides. And remember, yours doesn't have to be like mine. In fact, many kids discover their own way of sculpting the paper. So if you come up with your own way to do it, that's great. So I've got a piece like this. But you always need some tabs or some surface area that's going to stick to your platform. Otherwise, it won't stick. So I folded up 2 little tabs, and now I have a shape that's more like this. All right, so these are the little feet that are going to get stuck down. Here I am using just regular liquid glue again. Remember, the tiniest bit of liquid glue will work. So I'm just putting liquid glue on those 2 little feet I made. These 2 little feet, okay? And now I can just find a place to stick it down. One thing you'll notice if you're working with the copy paper is thinner, so it's even more of what we would consider in art an ephemeral sculpture. Ephemeral in art or an ephemeral sculpture means a sculpture that doesn't last very long, okay? If you're bending and working with cardboard, your structure is probably going to be a little bit stronger, okay? So that's that. Let's see what else we can do. The next one I want to teach you is a zigzag or an accordion fold. And how we do this is we just fold it and flip it, and fold it and flip it. And you just keep on folding it and flipping it all the way to the end of your paper. So I'm just folding and flipping it all the way down. And once I get it over here, I have a zigzag. That's cool. It actually has a little movement to it. Now, I could, well, if I was going to glue it down here on the bottom, it might look like just some unusual shape going up. I could also glue it so it sticks 2 of my pieces together. So if I'm actually building my sculpture up and making it taller, I might want to glue some pieces together, connect them in some way. You know, I've done a lot with the glue and the glue stick. Let's see what it's like using a little piece of masking tape. Let me see if I can figure out a way to work with the masking tape. So I'm ripping off a piece, and I think what I will do maybe is just tape it here on the top of this circle I made. So I really want to make sure my tape is touching both the circle and the zigzag. Otherwise, it won't hold. Let's see. I could just leave it there. If I just left it there, that's something in art we call kinetic sculpture. Sculpture that moves is called kinetic sculpture. But I think what I want to do is maybe I'll just attach this to the platform, my little piece of cardboard here. And I could do that with tape again. So I'm just taking a strip of tape, putting it on the end, and making sure it'll stick down to the platform. All right, what are some other things we can do? You can make, here I am working now with the pizza, the back of the pizza box. If, well, actually, I probably should show you in white paper. Will probably be a little easier to see. Let me go back to the white paper. Okay, so I've got my little strip here. First thing I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to make a triangle. I'm going to fold it in half. And now I have a line down the center. If I take this piece and fold it in, so I folded it into the center, and I take this piece and fold it in, I now have 4 different segments. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take these and turn it into a triangle. So what I'm going to do on one end, I'm going to apply a little bit of glue. And now I'm going to take this piece and attach it around like this. So now I have a triangle. Cool. Actually, I think I'm going to glue this on top of this little rectangle type shape I made. So I'm going to glue it like that, I think. That looks kind of interesting. So maybe I'll use glue this time again, just a little bit. Remember, all you need is a dot, not a whole lot, just a tiny, tiny bit. And I'm going to take now that glued surface and stick it over here. Okay, moving on to some other things. One thing that you can do that's kind of fun is to take your paper and make a spiral. And there's two methods for doing the spiral, or you might even come up with your own. What I do for the spiral is I just start at the end and I keep rolling it around and around and around the paper all the way to the other side, and it'll just slide out. So now I have kind of a spiral shape, and I can glue that down. An alternative to that would be, one thing that you can do that's kind of neat is make a cylinder with your spiral. So let's say like I'm rolling, and you can do two things. You can roll it around on your pencil, or you can just roll it around in your hands like this, whatever works best. But if I keep rolling it and rolling it all the way to the other end, I actually can make a little bit of a cylinder. So I have now, instead of letting all the pieces come apart to make it a spiral, it's now a cylinder. So if I take a little bit of glue here and glue that down, I could stick that somewhere on my sculpture. Let me show you a few other fun things you can do. Fringe can be really cool. For this one, you'll need your scissors. If I take a strip and cut some pieces up like this, I now have fringe. Okay, so I could keep it like this, and just, I could even glue that off of something to give it a little bit of excitement, give it a little bit of movement or visual interest. Maybe I want to glue that like that. You can also do an accordion fold, or kind of just wrinkle up the fringe, and that makes it look kind of lively. You could curl the fringe. You could just curl it with your fingers like this, or curl it around a pencil or something else you have that's round. So there's a lot of ways to give this fringe even more form if you want to. Actually, I might have to curl it around both of my fingers like this a little bit. So that could be something I want to add on, some fringe. One of my students the other day actually taught me something cool I wanted to show you. I learned something new the other day. I hadn't seen this done before, but it looks kind of neat. What you do is you take two strips and you put them in a position of an L. Now, if you don't have anything like glue or glue stick or tape at home, you could just start folding it. But if you actually put a little glue or a little tape here in the corner and make your L shape, it's gonna hold a little bit better. So this actually ends up being a very strong zigzag shape, but look what happens. All you do is you alternate between the two strips, and all you do is fold it over. So you keep switching over, just folding it over. So here I go. I'm gonna fold this one over and then this one over. So you just switch between the two, just folding it over and over and over again until you get to the end. And if you want to really secure it, you could add a little bit more glue here, or glue stick or whatever to hold it down. But what happens with this is you end up having this really strong structure. It's pretty cool. It's actually two pieces of paper that have been woven together. So let's see, where could I put that? Maybe I will glue that down here. Okay, I know I'm showing you a lot of different ideas, but it's just so you can try a lot of ideas out. There's something else kind of cool that I was thinking about. Instead of just doing your standard accordion fold, what would it be like to do an accordion fold that's in the shape of a triangle? So see, have a triangle here. What would happen if I folded this back and forth in a triangular shape? So I'm still doing an accordion fold. I'm just folding it over. Oh, and this one doesn't seem to be working out very well. Let me see why that is. Probably because I didn't fold it down enough. This one might be kind of complicated, but it's also kind of fun too. It's something worth experimenting with. So this is more of a triangular fold, okay? Let's see. What are some other fun things that are cool? You could take a piece of paper. You could do the zigzag fold with it. By the way, this is another way to do a zigzag fold. And if you take your scissors, it's kind of like a snowflake zigzag. If you just cut some interesting shapes out of each side, that can create something that has a lot of negative and positive space in it. That could be cool to add to your art. Oh, here's another one that's pretty cool. This is the way you can kind of make your paper into a serpentine or a curved shape. If I go along the bottom edge and just cut like maybe inch or half-inch pieces up like this, little kind of notches all the way down, I'm going to get to the end. Now, what I'm going to do with these notches is I'm going to fold them in making them go left and right like this. So each time you fold one into the opposite direction, just like this, okay? So what's kind of neat about this is these little tabs that you've made allow you to glue paper down in kind of a curve shape. So I'm going to add a little glue here, and so I'm just gluing each of these tabs I made. Just kind of trying to get glue on. You got to get glue on each and every one so it'll actually stay on your platform or your cardboard or whatever you're gluing or taping to. So that's neat. So I've got it like that. Now what I can do is take those glued pieces and stick them down, really pressing each one to the paper. And the neatest thing about this is it allows you to create these kind of like curved pieces that actually come off of the page a little bit. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to teach you. There's so many ideas, and you can get really creative with it. You can build things on top of things. You can make structures that are really strong. I wonder if you will think of a different way to fold or to attach paper. Now, like I said, if you do not have glue at home, just practice, folding and curving and bending your paper, and you can just send me some pictures of what you've folded and bended. But anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this lesson about sculpture. I'm really looking forward to seeing whatever photos you send to me. All right, have a wonderful day. Happy creating.